Okay, so this is my design, research, and methods class, and we always open with an inquiry of sorts. It's usually a series of questions or sketches or something related to design thinking, because that is the theme for our course this semester, all semester long. This morning, our opening inquiry is doodling. And I'm just going to doodle along with my students, and I invite you to join us. So if you have just any old piece of paper, any pen, anything you have, you can just pick it up and start making marks. And it really doesn't matter what you do. And while we doodle, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what I know about doodling, because I've done a lot of research into it. I'm fascinated by drawing, and I have learned over the years that doodling is a powerful practice, a really powerful practice. And this is for a number of reasons. So just as we're sitting here and playing around with color, with pencil marks, we can do spirals. Doesn't matter. You can't make mistakes while doodling. And it's just feeling the pen on the paper or the pencil on the paper, that surface that the pen mark or pencil mark makes as it's going across. And as you can see here, I've just made like a swirly thing, and now I'm filling it in. And my sketchbooks and notebooks are generally graph paper. I just prefer it. So I've got this sort of grid going here. And I'm not worrying if I make a mistake, and I'm just making it loose and having fun with it. And I've just grabbed some of my markers and highlighters that I have on hand here. And these are some of the things that I know about doodling. Many famous people have been doodlers. Presidents, politicians, scientists, artists, etc. Have been doodlers. Now, my GID 110 students don't remember or didn't experience the time when we were absolutely trapped by landlines, meaning that it had a cord and we were basically attached to it. So people often had little chairs and tables where their phones were. And when people were talking on the phone, whether it was a business meeting or whether it was a friend or whatever, there might be a pad nearby, in case there was a number that needed to be taken, but it would be filled with doodles. This was an ongoing and regular practice on the phone. So as children, we're often drawn to doodling, and we do it without thinking about it, and then we lose it somewhere. We lose that just wanting to make marks, and it's actually pretty easy to get it back. Now, some of us were doodlers in the classroom, and if you've ever watched Sunny Brown's TED Talk, I think she's the most famous doodler in the world right now. If you've watched Sunny Brown's TED Talk, you'll hear her talk about doodling in the classroom, and of course getting scolded, the teacher accusing us of not paying attention, when in fact, doodling can help us concentrate. And I'd like for you to kind of think about that right now. As you're doodling in your sketchbook and you're hearing Professor Hastings kind of lay all of this information on you, Are you finding that it's easier to concentrate or harder to concentrate? I'm actually surprised how easy it is for me to stay on track while I'm doodling, even though I'm kind of doing two things at once here. Normally when I'm doodling, I'm looking for a clear, focused mind, and I'm not trying to deliver a little lecture demo, but it seems to be going okay so far. So let me tell you some other things that I know about doodling. Even though it's frowned upon in classes and meetings, it actually aids us in concentration. So you might want to try doing it in like the side of your notes. And these little doodles that you put into your notes will actually help you retain the information. They've done studies on this. Particularly in science, it's very helpful to make drawings of the things that you're studying and so forth. But it works well for other things too. So try making your notes more visual. In addition to concentration, it can also bring an enormous amount of peace and presence. Our breathing stills, our mind relaxes and stills. So it can be very, very calming, in the same way that many people are picking up coloring books these days, right? But you don't actually have to have a coloring book in order to get the same experience of calm, peace, and presence. You can make any piece of paper a coloring book. And that's exactly what I've done right here with this weird, silly shape. It has instantly become a space for me to color in. And this is October 8th, 2020. So it's a time on the planet where we could all use more peace, more calm, more presence, more creativity, more relaxation. And this is a great, great thing to do when you are feeling bored and drawn to scroll. So whether it's doom scrolling the news, which is my bad habit, or scrolling social media, getting sucked into TikTok for an hour, or whatever it is, this is a great substitute for that. And it gives us more than consuming gives us. One, we're creating, which is fabulous. Under any circumstances, it's fabulous to create. We're also internally focused. Here, I'm going to throw a little pink in here now. We're also internally focused. But probably the biggest thing for me, as someone who is absolutely fascinated by the brain and neuroscience, is that this activity gives us a chance to create some new neural pathways or re-enliven some old if we have lost touch with this. And instead of a finger on the glass and just taking information in through text or images, we're actually building a relationship, a different relationship between our hand and our brain. And this is always a good thing. Now, I mostly teach creative people. So any boost in creativity, anything that we can do to reinforce and enhance our creative experience, our creative practices, our creative processes is a brilliant thing. So, I think I've covered everything that I meant to cover, that doodling has a long and famous history, that it helps us to concentrate rather than distracts us. It reduces or relieves the fear of drawing or mark making. It can be used for concentration or peace or presence or calm. It can be used to alleviate boredom rather than scrolling or social media. And it gets the creative juices flowing and allows for our brain to fire and wire in new and different ways. So that's it for our opening inquiry. And thank you for joining me and doodling along.